Now you're gonna wanna hit this recording, right?
Yeah.
So here's your window, right? Your audio is back here. You can instruct your pitchers to stay back here. You're gonna screen grab, and we're going to screen grab them. So you're gonna want to be back here, introduce yourself, and what the event is about after you start recording. Okay.
And then I can go into my PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome. Let's see here. Let's put on start. And unfreeze. Who knows where the freeze is real quick? Oh, there, I see it. But I didn't touch it. Cool. Yeah, so welcome.
Minimize that after you start recording.
That doesn't look like studio? It's recording. There we go. Cool. Oh my god. Doop. Anybody know how this functions? I just tried that. I just want a presentation mode.
Just F5.
It's not doing it on here. Because it's Google.
Go ahead and on the presentation hit escape and it should show the controls.
On the presentation.
Yeah, so go to the presentation tab and hit escape.
Ta-da! Cool. Awesome. Awesome. Cool. Thanks. Welcome, everybody. So, this is UAT Game Studios, Fall 2016 class celebration. We're going to talk about the games that we made over the last term. Some of them were more than just a term. Some of them was just their first term. So you'll see different stages, but really excited about everything that came together and showing it off. So first and foremost, I want to talk about what actually UAT Game Studios is. We work purely on game creation. We are here every Friday from 10:30 until 5:30. Students come in, get into groups here. Well, first we start off here in the theater, right? And then after that, go out into the open commons area that you see out there and just start working like you would at a normal studio. We have regular meetings with leads, with artists, with programmers, and so on. So we're very multidisciplinary. While it's focused on production, which in that sense for us means making the games and finishing them and taking them to launch and even doing marketing, obviously that first initial part of creating it is all heavy in the design and the art and the programming aspects. So that's why it's very multidisciplinary. We get the different undergrad degrees to come together and work as teams. It's a mix of on-ground students and online students. We usually have a pretty good number of online students that come in and work with us. Obviously that adds another layer of communication and another layer of coordination, but it's true to the real world. So you start to see an increasingly larger number of game development studios being just folks online in different parts of the world. We've got undergraduate, which are the majority of the students in this program, as well as grad students when it makes sense. So there are a few grad classes on production or marketing or pipeline, basically kind of Scrum and Agile methodologies, and they'll come in and they'll work with the teams and help them just kind of add more boots to the ground while they're making these games. Project management is a big part of what we do. With the size of the teams that we have, it's really important that everybody communicates well, everybody knows what they're doing, what roles they play in this entire process. So we use industry tools like Axosoft, like Slack, and we go even further talking about GitHub or other kinds of softwares for the programming side as well as art and so on. I mean, we use Unity, we use Unreal, we use Maya, all professional grade softwares here at the university. We tie that in with methodologies, like I said, like Scrum and Agile. So we work really hard to have regular stand-ups of what we do and checking in, and some of the teams even post that stuff on YouTube. So If you're interested, you can probably go and find them. We encourage them all to create YouTube channels. You can go to those channels and see the stand-ups from previous weeks. So I think that's a really unique aspect of this and kind of open development, and it allows them to talk about what they're doing as if it to an audience, and then likewise anybody from outside of the school, if you're interested in knowing how we do this kind of stuff, you can go to those channels and check it out. And then obviously documentation is a big part of that as well, where game design documents, technical design documents, tech documents, and so on. You're going to want to put those together, obviously, in an early initial phase. A lot of that is usually pieced together before they even set foot into the production studios. We kind of require that as a prerequisite for pitching their games, and that's something we did earlier today. So the new teams that come in basically pitch their concept, and we accept it or not. Our whole goal of this, that's the beginning. The end of it is we want to create industry players. We want people who graduate from the university with games under their belt, with games launched in their portfolio, and go out there and make an actual difference in this industry. Whatever that be, as far as if they're an independent, starting their own studio, if they're working for a small team, if they're working for a AAA company, or if they're working for something peripheral, and it might not be just games. I mean, VR, AR, haptic, all that stuff is really, really interesting. Artificial intelligence, all this kind of stuff can play a role if you want to, but either way, we want to have people who are ready for the workforce when they leave here. So students own their own work. It's a big part of the university's policy. We get to, of course, the university gets to use some of it for marketing, but aside from that, the students own it all, and they can go out and make money and brands and hopefully be famous. A big part of that too, again, is leadership. Good communication, good leaders, those are the foundations of these teams. Those are the foundations of great games. So we always, anybody who is bringing a game into the studio, we ask them to pitch, and they talk about how they're going to take that product or that idea into the next phase, which is a completed product, and then even beyond that. So you'll see tonight some really talented individuals, most of whom will be up here will be the leads. Please recognize that the hard work that they've done, and not just pushing their idea forward, but getting other people to kind of rally around that and work with them on that is incredible. So. Again, I talked about publishing games. We've had a few already on Android and on iOS, on Steam, Greenlight. We've had a couple now. Some of them are in virtual reality even, and we're going to be even having one alumni team that's going to be making one for the PlayStation. So I put that in there because I want to encourage next generations and groups within the studio class to really start thinking about any platform you want. I mean, consoles, PCs, anything. It's all available and it's all possible. And we give you the resources and the tools to do that here. So we finish these things off. We try to launch these games. We'll help as much as we can. And we want to experiment with any kind of monetization or marketing tools that we can find. That's one, again, a very unique and interesting aspect of the video game industry, is that we get to experiment and play with all different types of monetization, all different types of engagement with users. We get to go on all kinds of crazy platforms. And often be kind of trendsetters at the initial stage there. So I'm always encouraging students to come to me about any kind of monetization or marketing ideas that they just want to try out. It's a space to do that here, that you have nothing to lose, and so we're really open to that too. I mentioned before a bit about the Greenlight pitch. That happened earlier today at 10:30. We gathered here just like this, and students came, some of them who you'll see tonight, came to re-pitch their games for next term. And then we had a group of students who came for the first time to pitch their games. All in all, we had 8 teams that pitched, and we chose 5. And Derek, are you going to announce who they are later? Or? No, you can do it. Okay. So the 5 that we have some returning, and you'll see some of them again tonight. We've got Consa Clicker returning. We've got Calculord returning, and we've got, what's the third one returning?
Island Survivor.
Island Survivor is a new one. It's quasi-returning, so they were here before, left, and then now are back again after a little hiatus. And we've got 2 other new ones, one being Morpheus, and then another, which is the name of
Rain and Rebellion.
Rain and Rebellion. We call it the Pro Team because this is a really interesting opportunity for us where we're working with actual video game professionals who have been in the field for over 20 years, some of them working at Cheyenne Mountain, if you know anything about that studio here. who now are looking to create their own game, and they're coming in because they see the talent here of the school and the caliber of the games that these students are making, and they want to be part of that. And they want to create a prototype with students to help them, again, get in the industry, build something out, and do it quickly and with quality. So we're really excited about that. Very end, our students are either getting hired by companies or they're starting their own. And we're having a really excellent track record with this. This is just a few of the folks who are still in town, who are making games, recent grads. I mean, the number of alumni that are populated all over the industry is extensive. And again, Derek will be the one to tell you a bit more about that than myself. But the point is, let's get everybody out there to actually keep working in this industry because it's fun. So thank you very much. That's kind of the intro. I'm going to have Derek come up here now to talk a bit more about his side of it all. Derek is a video game champion over here. Social media. So please give a round of applause to Derek.
Be confined by the camera.
Yeah, you are.
All right, I'm going to try to keep my part brief. First thing I'd like to do is thank all of you guys, acknowledge you guys for your hard work this term. The studio has come a long way in the 8 or 9 years we've been trying to get this thing up and going. It's interesting because I just got done collecting a bunch of feedback from industry about trends and things they would want to see from a graduate. And the number one thing they want to see is completed work, right? They want you guys to have actually hopefully published. And that's the other thing that I'm really proud of for you guys is this idea that we're going to publish is starting to become more of a normal thought as opposed to that out there, holy cow, I can't believe they did it. You know, we kind of expect now things to show up on Steam Greenlight and different things like that. So congratulations to all of you guys. That's really, really cool to see. And we've really started to push things quite a ways into that. Interesting enough, another thing that was in Ben's presentation that I got a lot of feedback on is you guys are actually experiencing different ways to monetize games. I actually got that from industry as a feedback point of, you know, not only do you have to know how to make games, but you have to know how to make them within the confines of how the studios and the spaces are changing and DLC and all of this kind of stuff and free-to-play models. So it's really, really cool to see you guys embracing, you know, that side of things as well. So for my part, I'm going to do a couple of things. First off, I'll plug social media. If it's social media, just put /UAT Game Studios and you'll probably find us. So Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook are our big ones. Follow us if you don't follow us. The other thing I'd like to do is just acknowledge the people that make this all work. Hiding in the back, I believe, is George. It's pretty dark. So let's give George a hand for what he does for us. I don't know exactly what he does, but he hangs out and talks about art. Also hiding in the back, we've got Hugh, our programming guru here. So obviously, you know, we can't do the things that we do without their support, and that definitely helps. Lynn and Ben, if you want to come down here, I'll make you guys stand up. Come on, don't be shy. Don't hide from me. So I get a lot of credit for, you know, building the studio. A lot of people, I get my ugly mug in the VR magazine articles and all that kind of crazy stuff that happens. But these two have been, you know, instrumental in making the studio work. Lynn was around when we first came up with this crazy idea. Her and I are, I think, the only two left from that era. But Lynn and Ben have put in so much time and so much work into making this happen. For those of you that have been multiple versions of it, you can see every term there's something new. We keep progressing and keep progressing. And so I want to thank both of them for everything they've done to build the studio and make it a success that it is. So thank you guys.
We'd also like to give a round of applause to our fearless leader, Derek
Lynn.
Clark, who makes it all possible.
Okay, I think that is enough for me. We are going to move on to the game demos and actually see what got produced this term. So I'm excited to see that. I believe, are we going in this order?
Yeah.
So Couch Game, I think you're up first. So What are you doing? What? Oh, that's after the presentation. So please welcome Couch Game, and then whoever is presenting, there's a list right here. Just call up the next group, and we'll go from there.
Hey, Calc Lord.
So Calc Lord will be next. After you're
Gotcha.
done.
I got you. I got it. Oh God, you're gonna tweet me? Oh God. Hey, there we go. Oh, cool. Don't just turn up lights on me like that. Woo. All right, hi everyone. My name is Jesse Rogers. I'm the lead. Hi. I'm the lead for Couch Game. This is kind of crazy. This is the 1 year anniversary for Couch Game, actually. Back last year, we started out with a game jam game, and now it's come so far through the studio. Here we are. And to celebrate, I decided to make a Prezi and try that out, which, yeah, I'm never doing this again. So to show you guys a little bit of what Couch Game is.
Where's this going?
It gets crazy. I don't. There we go. Whew, Prezi. Yeah. So, Couch Game. What exactly is it? So, the game. It's a local multiplayer game. We really wanted to focus on the older aspects of gaming. Back when, you just got your friends, you all got together, jumped on the couch game, and just started gaming and having fun. It is a party game. It's 2 to 4 players. Think of it as a battle arena game, much like Gang Beasts, for you that know what that game is. It's just a brawler, attacking each other, trying to be the last man standing. One of the cool things about our game is instead of having that player-to-player versus, we also have the player versus environment. So you'll see like tornadoes coming through, you'll have quicksand, platforms will start dropping out, so players have to worry about the environment around them, including, their enemies. And of course, being older gaming, back on like the NES only had 2 buttons and a D-pad. That's kind of exactly how our game is. We have 2 buttons and an analog stick. Yeah, so it's super intuitive. Anybody can pick it up, anybody can play it, but it's easy enough for anyone, but it has that slight learning curve that you can start doing other things if you want to be that pro hard game player, that everybody wants to be. So what's included? We have multiple unique levels. We're up to 5 now, I believe. One of them's being redone. We have a vast majority of creative crates. Everything we came from was original. Same thing with our characters. Starting out, everything is what we decided it was be. For instance, we have the rhino, we have a pelican, we have a Hercules beetle, and then a lion. We all gave them their own unique look to them, which is super awesome. And then on top of that, we wanted to make this game replayable for everyone. So to adjust how people's game types or gameplays are, we created a mutators panel. And what a mutators panel is pretty much like a settings tab for people to go in and adjust things. So if you want to adjust how much time is left on rounds, how many rounds, what crates spawn, how often they spawn, that sort of stuff. If you want 35 crates during a match, go for it. You can do that. So yeah, that's what we put into it. And to kind of show you guys the progress that we went through for this whole year, because it's our anniversary, let's start with our actual origin. So as you can see, it's completely different, right? In this one we have tiny little animals that are very creepy, and the crates or boxes, I actually don't know what they are supposed to be, are bigger than them. But this got the point straightforward to people and it turned out to be extremely fun, so we knew we were on a good track. And just kind of skip ahead. So it started out as a game jam game, 48 hours. We had, I believe, a 9-man team and then some, because we had a couple people jump in and make some crappy textures for us, and literally crappy. I believe it was like crap on a dumpster, that crappy. So, but in the end, we ended up getting a couple different awards. We got the most fun, which I was super excited for because I was programming the thing, so I was like, yeah, mechanics. And then we also got best art, so people liked the characters, everybody was enjoying them even though they were scary. So in the end, we had a lot of people say, hey, this is a lot of fun, this is really great, what are you doing with it? So we decided to pitch to UAT Greenlight. And guess what? We did! That's why we're here. We actually pitched 3 times. Hey! But anyways, in the start of it, after we pitched, it seemed that our game kind of got in because of the small scope, the fun factor. We already had a pretty strong core team. I mean, if they tried to break us up and put us into other groups, we probably would have raged and, you know, flipped tables. I'm sure Derek didn't want that. And then, of course, we had a playable prototype, which was, you know, very, very good in that state. So we got greenlit. We went to semester 1. In semester 1, we started out with all our character concepts, our level concepts. We kind of started pinpointing what do we want our characters to look like, what do we want the levels to look like. We got our core building together, so those mechanics. We got the characters moving, we got the pickups, the crates, the damaging, all that sort of stuff. And we started building out these levels. After semester 1, we pitched again, got back in. Semester 2 came along. We ended up getting 2 new levels, which was really great, and this is where the game really started to form up. We started getting the colors that we wanted, we started seeing more things pop out. Before, it was still pretty dark, which was not really what we wanted. On top of that, we had a big GUI update, which was super fancy. Our game flow with the GUI just made things so much smoother. On top of that, we finally started implementing our mutators panel for people to start working with. Also during semester 2 is when things were also getting interesting. For instance, we got to do some things like Phoenix Comic Con and Game On Expo. Me and some of the other leads actually got to go to these events and talk on a panel about game development and how our games react in the gaming community. The biggest part for this, and for Couch Game, was it was a big networking opportunity, and of course we got to market our game, which was awesome. So those events passed by, Greenlight came back again, and we decided to go, oh no we didn't, we got Axosoft, that's right. Oh, but we did pitch, and we got accepted. However, Axosoft was here, and of course, most of you guys that are in the studio should know that we use Axosoft. Our team actually uses Gitkraken, which is really cool for source control. I do recommend it. It's been really awesome. But the cool thing about this was they came here and they got to playtest all our games. They jumped in, they playtest Couch Game, we got really positive feedback from them, and they even made a blog with it, so that was really awesome. And then it comes down to this semester. This semester was a little hectic. A bunch of different things had to get polished up, we had to just running around, new people, all sorts of stuff. However, we got a brand new level in, which was actually being worked on during the summer. I know Claire, she's not here right now, has been busting her butt off for that, and it finally got in. Super excited. We started polishing up all the other levels. We started polishing up characters, for instance. One of the big things that we had to struggle with was at first we did characters that were mocapped, and then it turned out mocap wasn't the way to go for our characters, so now we had to switch over to keyframing. Now we have 3 out of 4 characters keyframed, so it's really awesome. On top of that, we also have a lot more diverse crates. Starting out this semester, we had 4? Yeah, 4. Now we're up to 7, I believe. So it's a lot more diverse. And we pretty much finished up our core game in general. So moving on. Where to now? Where do we go from this journey? Seeing as how we're not in the production studio no more, what do? Well, now it's to that point, we need to polish up the remaining assets. So go back through the levels, finish up fixing some of the colors, add the few other assets that we need to get in, just completely polish up what we have to a state of the best presentable state we could give it. After that, Steam Greenlight. So we're actually going to be posting this on Steam Greenlight come next semester. Right now is kind of a bad time for Steam Greenlight. It's the holidays, everybody's doing their thing, AAA's starting to get in there. Nobody's really spending their money anyways because they've already spent it. But, so, next semester, be sure to check that out. I'll be throwing it in you guys' faces and all this stuff. I'm sure of it. And then after Steam Greenlight, what do? We obviously make more games. Alright, so we actually started up a company. It's called Tiny Vision Entertainment. This is what Couch Game is going to be going underneath, and it's going to be published. So with Tiny Vision Entertainment, we're going to be making more games and producing more, because that's what we enjoy to do. So, because this Prezi is long, contact us, follow us, support us, do all that stuff. Jump on Facebook, go to Facebook/CouchGame, go to Facebook/TinyVision, do all the Twitter stuff, you know, hashtag @CouchGame, @TinyVision, and yeah, that's it. Thanks for talking. Close out of that. Oh, right. Calculator, you're up next.
Thanks, Jeff. You're welcome.
Hello everybody, my name is Donald Cheppis. I am the project lead for Calculator. So Calculator was brought to us by Mark Ragno, our client. Myself and 2 other alumni were contracted to start building out a prototype, and he had heard about the Greenlight program and he was very interested in it, and so we decided to go ahead and try and push the game through Greenlight to help us build that prototype and continue development. So we did. Calculator is an edutainment application designed to revolutionize the way we look at out-of-school and education. So instead of sending the kids home with some boring math worksheet that they're not going to really want to do and they're going to do the minimum amount of time, we wanted to take role-playing game elements, things that you see in World of Warcraft. You know, in World of Warcraft, people will kill 5,000 bunnies to get an item. Why do they do it? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's not very fun, but they still do it. They have a drive to. So we're trying to take that drive that you see in those role-playing games, and instead of having you do a repetitive action like killing bunnies, we're making you practice math. So that ideally, kids are wanting to do the math so that way they can unlock cool armor and build up their town and get all these cool things so that way they can show off to their friends, they can show off to other people, and they have a visual representation of the progress besides just kind of this abstract idea of, I learned math. And so with that, we pitched a Greenlight, and we got a core team of 9 people. We had 3 artists, 4 designers, and 2 programmers. You see them there. It was a mix of people who've been in the production class a couple of times that we've worked with before, others who were completely brand new to it, and it was great all around. Everybody put in a lot of effort, and we got a fair bit done. So first we can start with the art progress. So a big focus we had was the armor sets in the game. That's what the kids are playing for. They're unlocking points so that way they can get all these cool armors. And so we had multiple sets go from concept to modeling to texturing to the final product that they're going to be able to purchase and equip and swap out and use in-game. We also put a lot of time and effort into our GUI because these are kids we're dealing with. We're going from pre-K all the way to 6th grade. And we need to make sure that our GUIs are not only intuitive so that way it's easy for them to understand, but also because it needs to be engaging. It needs to be exciting for them to look at, because if it's boring, they're not going to want to play. And so we took it all the way from designing it out in simple Photoshop spreadsheets and building out the flow to iterating again and again and again until we got something that we felt could both be interesting to the kids without being too much of a distraction. You know, something very clean and simple, so that way they can just get to the meat of it. We also did a lot of design work in figuring out how the armors should work, how the weapons should work. We took a look at New York Common Core because we have a teacher in New York that we can talk to get advice and see how they would break things down for their students. And so we're able to take that and start building up something that we're actually going to be able to put in front of kids and see whether or not it actually helps them. And then we also focused on minigames. Minigames are something that we find are very important to Calculator because just simply throwing practice at kids isn't enough. They need to see things in different ways. They need to play games in different ways to understand the math. Simply besides just, if you practice the same thing the same way, you're not going to learn anything more about it. And so we had a number of mini games concepted out in Game Maker just to see kind of what worked and what didn't. And then we started building them in Unity, which was our final landing point for the engine we're using. And we're just trying to build a variety, so that way when we go to a school and we put this in front of kids, there's a lot of things for them to try out, so we get a lot of feedback. On the programming side, it was very important for us because you're going to be able to play Calculor on multiple platforms. You're going to be able to play it on the computer at school, then on your phone at the bus, and then when you get home, play it on your desktop. So having a back end, which we're going to be using PlayFab, that handles all that for us, and also being able to validate everything that's in there is very important. So once we had that background in PlayFab, we were able to go in and throw our UI on it and begin testing the usage of the buttons and the transitions of the screens. And as you often do, we found out, oh, well, the first way we're doing it isn't really working. So we came to reorient, and as you have to do, we scrapped some of the old UI, and now we're focusing more on the avatar screen. So that now it's more of where you go to interact in your town, as opposed to kind of these kind of flat, boring UI screens that we were previously dealing with. And so this is where we ended up for our seed spot demo. Actually, this build we're moving beyond iterations. We're not stopping for the break of the semester. We just keep going. But this is what we showed off at Seed Spot, and this is probably the most comprehensive build we have right now. You can go in, you can log in, the backend actually validates, make sure that you have an account. You can view your character in the avatar window, and you can go in and you can actually begin a practice quiz. And it tracks how many you have right, how many you have wrong, and it actually sends all that information to the server. So that way the teacher, who has their portal on their end, can see, oh, well, this student's doing this poorly in this area. And they can track how many quests you're going through. And then we also have, we had a few people be able to put their hands on the minigame at Seed Spot and get a lot of good feedback there. So we're just going to be continuing on with Calculor. We're going to be seeing what we can change to make it even more efficient when it comes to teaching kids. And we hope to see you next semester when we've made it even better for kids to battle monsters to master math. Thank you. And then it's going to be Short Links Golf.
Hello, my name is Isaac Morales, and this is Short Links Golf. This is not initially a game. This is a demo. It is a visual representation of a facility from our client, his vision. And we had a great opportunity working with this. It gave us a great experience, not focusing on the gameplay, but bringing out a vision from somebody else, somebody outside of the game industry. And we are focused to clients or investors that really don't play games. So here's our first. It's Unreal 4 engine. This is the demo. Our task was to take what we got here, the tier target greens and the play area floor, and turn it into something virtual. Our client wanted it to look like a real golf course. Had the 18 holes, everything going with it, but it goes indoors. So other than making it look like the golf course and everything else assigned to it, we did a matinee. So that was also decided so that we can show what the gameplay looks like. The team, we got me. I did a co-game director. I say co-game because our client was also making the decisions on what stays, what goes. I had to make some of those decisions when the client wasn't available to make those, as well as if something couldn't go as planned, we had to make other decisions. Valentine, he did most of the level design. He did the set layout, the set design, blueprinted, sequence capturing. He did a lot of work into that. Sean McCoy, he's our game artist. He did the asset creator and texturing. It's a lovely picture of you, Sean. And Dom, also asset creator, texturing. So both artists took their time. They were learning this semester. They did great work, learning how to model, learning how to texture, and then they put it into this game, this demo. The greatest thing about this was communication. So we had meetings every Tuesday and every Friday. We were able to communicate any problems we were having, come up with solutions. And the way we communicated, we're all together in a group, so it wasn't singled out. Nobody didn't know anybody else. We all just put it out there. And we'll go to our progression. So many of you guys saw this as we were progressing through. This is how it started out. We just kind of looked at our empty room, and as we continue, we started texturing a little bit more, putting out bookshelves, putting our models out, and our fancy toilet, if we all remember that, with the ball inside. And here we go. So what you're seeing right now is the customer service area. Right within it is the short shot grill. The club practice bays. All this was done textured. And we're starting to go in our play area. The important thing we wanted to capture out of this was everything is visual. Just seeing the beauty, the grandness of it, stuff like that. Now you're going to notice two balls there. Part of that was programming issues we're having. It just kept glitching. So we decided, hey, there's two people playing. So we want to just have fun with that. And so there we have it. That is not complete. We're still finishing off the semester, so we're still looking at putting the 4 golfers there. We had 4 there. One of our golfers wasn't working. He was rigged to kind of display how he would look if he was golfing. But that would be in the sequence. We already fixed the show the ball soar. We want to kind of tweak that a little bit as well. So everything right now is polishing. Estimated time, no more than a week. And that was it. Thank you guys. Next is Source Watch.
All right. Hello everyone, I'm Zach Cook, and this is Source Watch. And this was our team for this semester. In the beginning, we had all 5 of us. The project lead and the lead designer, Parker Smith, who stepped up as our lead programmer when Tristan Horton, who started the project with me, had to leave due to life issues. We have Blake Buckingham, who was our level designer, ended up coming up with his own control point map that we started working on that turned out really well design-wise. And we had Nicholas Wetter, who was helping me with design documentation in the beginning, but once all that was done, there wasn't much for him to do, so he moved on to another project. So, Source Watch is a team-based first-person shooter with focuses on individual characters and their abilities, but also their role in larger teams and scaling down their abilities to fit into bigger teams of 12 or maybe even 24. It was based off of Overwatch and Team Fortress 2, and we're building it inside of a Source Engine game, hence the name Source Watch. So our plan was 12 design characters, 4 in each role. We designed a unique cooldown system, which I'll go over later, but in a nutshell, the better you're playing, the more often you'll get to use your abilities. And we decided to start with the 4 standard map types: Capture the Flag, Control Points, King of the Hill, and Payload. And we decided that we were going to make it in Gary's mod because Gary's mod is set up to make games like this much easier to make. Most importantly, it handles all the multiplayer connectivity for us, which is something that student projects have a very big issue with. It's one of the big hurdles that not a lot of projects like to tackle. So having that done for us was letting our small team really just move forward and get right into the gameplay. And there was lots of documentation. There was free assets to use in Gary's mod, so we didn't have to have a ton of artists. And most importantly, there's a large audience already following Gary's mod. Even though it's an old game, you know, there's still thousands of players always looking for new stuff to try out. So what we got accomplished this semester was we got into the game mode and we started our base for character creation. We made 6 basic classes that we were going to move forward with. We got our Capture the Flag map type working and fully fleshed out 2 out of 12 characters, totally done and feature complete. And we got our original Control Points map prototype all drafted out and even started getting it built. So these are 6 base classes, just the Half-Life weaponry that comes with all the Source games: the pistol, magnum, SMG, rifle, shotgun, crossbow. And what was significant about this is every one of these is eventually going to turn into a full character, and then obviously other weapons that aren't, you know, simple guns. So the first character we got complete was the Warden, who's the Combine from Half-Life 2. He has a very slow but powerful shotgun, and his main ability is that he has these 3 consecutive leaps that are building up in charges, and he can use these to get around very quickly. And this keeps him mobile, but rather than having a high base speed like other shotgun classes that you might see, like the Scout or Tracer, this keeps him a bit more manageable and feels better with his slower shotgun. The second character that we got done was the Survivor from Left 4 Dead 2, who has a simple SMG with a grenade launcher attachment, and he's also able to put down a health kit for himself or his allies. And so the way that the resource system, or the cooldown system works, is best explained through him. So if his grenade launcher has, say, a 30-second cooldown, with every bullet that he lands from his SMG, you're going to take, 0.5 seconds off of the cooldown. So as you're performing better with your basic weapons, or if you heal somebody with your health pack, the other cooldowns will have chunks taken out of them. We've got the capture the flag map type totally working out, even better than we expected it to. Because of Gary's mod being hooked up with Source Engine, we were able to have it run capture the flag maps from Team Fortress 2, which meant that we didn't have to spend 7 weeks making our own map just to test it. We were able to jump right into CFD well and get started. And we had to program in the flag behavior, but that got done that got done before green light. And our CP overpass prototype, we didn't quite get a lot done in the actually built out, because the level designer actually took a leave of absence for the 5 remaining weeks because he was an online student. But you can see in the diagram here, the paper map, that the defending team has this highway overpass that they spawn on and have to drop in at certain locations. And so this makes it harder for them to defend in the beginning, but because of where the drop locations are, they get advantages later on when the offensive team is trying to get down here into the third one. And that's exactly what you want for a control point map. And the fact that you have to spawn on a highway overpass and have to jump down into the action, it's a very memorable design, and I think it, would work out very well for the game. We do have this gameplay video. This was the one that we came into Greenlight with. So these are our 6 base classes that we're all playing around with here. Just making sure everything works, having nice gameplay foundation to start with. It's all fun, it's all still there. And there's our 6. Oh, well. So what's to come is we hope to continue developing characters and continue developing maps to get to our original vision. But because of the Gary's Mod platform, and because of just how unique a situation the game will be in, we want to start looking at prototype maps that the industry doesn't often look at, like VIP escort and territory control. And hopefully we'll start building our own original story and universe to build the characters around, which is going to help us when we decide to move into a standalone on Unreal 4 or Unity later down the line. And that is SourceWatch. Thank you very much. Who is next? Would be Console Clicker.
Hello everyone, I'm Ivan Grahalva, team lead of Console Clicker. So pretty much Console Clicker, the core thing that we wanted to do as a team is we wanted to bring something that was missing from the idle game genre, and that's emotions. One of the most basic things about video games is emotions are what truly make them great. Emotions are the aspect that makes you remember that one moment in Final Fantasy VII when Aerith dies. It's already been past 20 years, man. Emotions are what make life happen. So we wanted to bring that to a genre that had none, that was basically just touch and go. So before anything else, what is an idle game? If you've ever played Adventure Capitalist or Cookie Clicker, it's essentially a game where you do a repetitive action to gain currency. And by gaining that currency, you could buy abilities or structures or many other myriad of things that actually increase the static and dynamic range of the currency you gain. What we wanted to do is introduce a villager mechanic where every structure that you created would end up having a villager tied to it. And also, the structure upgrades that we decided to do would lock in that type of upgrade for pretty much indefinitely for that type of structure building. That way that your actual decisions on this would impact pretty much the whole thing. And as you see at the bottom here, we have basically, that's what we initially thought that, and what we want to flesh out is a market. And you can see how many upgrades it could have and essentially how many different types of interactions that will have with other villagers. Since we're going to be working with a large plane of land or world, the art style couldn't be too high fidelity, so we ended up going with a really low poly, minimalistic 3D view. And the same goes with the 2D art style. We wanted something to represent basically we wanted something to represent can't speak English. We wanted that the users themselves can represent what they feel about the games into the characters. So we didn't want to try to have too many of our influences within them. And these are just some of our buildings and characters. And actually, we had one of our members create something pretty awesome, and it's a comparison of how the game started out and where we're at the moment. This is a very programmer-heavy art with when we started off, and it's pretty great. But this is now our main menu compared to what we had. Once we start throwing in textures and just a little bit more of a custom font, it'll look fantastic. This is actually the main screen that you had. There really wasn't any way to really buy buildings and be able to plop them down. And now this is what we have. You have a full world to play around with. This was our interaction with our villagers. It was just a standard thing. A lot of text heavy. There really wasn't a way to parse it out. And now we have it to be a little bit bigger so that anybody can actually view what's going on. And that little spot, there'll be an individual. And there's also a pretty good zoom function. And he was clicking there, and you could see the currency actually going up. In the old build, the actual places would tell you when they're ready, and for this one, it would be sort of similar in terms of placing it. But this time, you go through a GUI and choose or elect which building or structure you would want to build, and it goes right to your mouse, and you're able to actually drag it along the lines, and it'll just plop down. And this is where some of our interactions. And in the original one, there was 2 buildings with 2 villagers, which with the choices that you had of building 2 upgrades per these 2 buildings, there was 40 interactions. In the game, though, at the moment, we have 24 characters already created, and now each structure has 4 upgrades. So there's going to be a good amount of storyline narrative that you'll be able to traverse and figure out. So we thank you for your time, and hopefully you have a fantastic night.
Howdy folks, my name's Harlan, lead for Project Oddity. So, Oddity is an adventure horror game. It pretty much focuses on player choice
If you were here earlier, you've heard this. So, these slides are short, so I'm just going to go in depth more about each of these little elements. So, the original core mechanic for Oddity was the shadow save feature. So, it plays off of how most games have load, save states, and you can replay the game, and after you've played it once or twice, made some choices, you kind of get how you can beat the game. This game evolves as you play it. So, in most RPG setting, as this is a story-driven game, if you were to interact with a character, befriend them, harm them, go through the game, and you get to an ending that you don't quite agree with, you would normally go back to a previous save, make some different choices, get what you like. Well, in this game, it plays off of the reality that you're pretty much jumping through time, and unlike most time looping anomalies, people start to get a sense of deja vu. So as you go through the game, maybe shoot up the town just because you were handed a gun and you thought, hey, that's something I can do. Once you get wasted, reload, or just don't like that you kill everybody and now nothing is available to you, if you load back, everyone is terrified of you. Same could be said if you were to befriend everybody. And the game just goes from there. So it's a lot of storytelling that changes the more you play it, allowing you to unlock new things and get a new game every time you try to start up. So this game has been going on for about 4 semesters. It's pretty much another anniversary game since it started last fall. So you can kind of see 2 comparisons of what it was. When we started the game, it was nothing but documentation and art, just basic art. And then we were able to get it to some of the basics, some of the foundations that we wanted. This is a basic screen capture of what it was in the very beginning. So, very basic load screens. And the way this was built, I don't know if you want it that loud. So, the way this game was built is very bottlenecked. So, I don't know why the resolution dropped either. But anyways, oh, never mind, it's fine. So, pretty much all the art, all the design, everything had to go through our one programmer, which made it very hard to test and make some progress. And even the entire levels were made of nothing but tiled sprite sheets. So, it was very basic. We got the rough gameplay in, but it wasn't quite what I was hoping for in the grand scope. It was a good way to test out some art, test out proportions and design, but it wasn't the most efficient way of producing games. But we did get pretty far, and we were able to test out a lot of basic elements, as you can see. Now, in comparison, this semester, once Roger joined our team, he's really helped speed up the production. For the longest time, we did have Bitbucket, but only the programmers were really involved with it. And when I was able to actually jump on, I was actually able to put my own art into the game a lot faster. I was able to make a 3D world that you can actually move around in instead of just a basic 2D side-scroller. The lighting in here has always been buggy between us editing some settings, so this one's rather dark. But we have folks that can now orient to what you're looking for. Characters will orient their facing based on where you are in game. You can actually interact with them, talk with them. We have a GUI that changes so you can figure out what it is you're going to do if you were to stare at the person and try to talk to them. We even have a lot of the basic elements carry over where you can talk to characters and they'll react to your decisions. And the way that the new map is built, instead of phasing through the different rooms and scenes through just a basic fadeaway, you actually interact with an entire map instead of just box worlds that are separate from one another. As we found in later editions, we were trying to sneak into another person's room, but that got a little messy since in this same scene, you would render that room like 3 different ways just for 3 different ways of looking at it. Whereas in this new build, you don't have to build a room 3 different times, just move the camera to look at it appropriately. Time passes through here as we start to demonstrate, and this allows for general progression in the game. It's all spooky, I know, I'm sorry. But yeah, you talk to folks, wander throughout the world, and yeah, it's just a general improvement art-wise and mechanic-wise. Everything's been really polished up. I'm quite proud of the progress we've made since this was all pretty much done in about a month's time. We've had a lot of people over these 4 semesters. It's given me a lot of exercise and recommunicating with folks. Since it's a story-driven game, I'd have to reiterate to every team the fundamentals of what it's about, what we've done, and I've had to organize again and again the documents so that they can, look through the most recent information and not have to scour through all the notes and stuff of past semesters. We've actually gotten a lot done. Our main scope was just to get a basic slice of the general idea of the game, since it's meant to be rather expansive, as you can imagine. It's been very content heavy, but with what we have, we just plan to clean up the demo, put in more of the story elements, test them out, clean up the bugs. Pretty much we have a lot of mechanics in play, now it's just adding that story to back it up. And hopefully once we get a good demo going, we can publish it to Steam, get the Kickstarter backing so I can do this more full-time since I work outside of this. I've actually graduated a couple of years ago, so I've just been doing this on my spare time with my own money whenever I can. So hopefully with more funding, we can actually get this done sooner. And we actually plan to open up our own basic LLC and basic company so that we can make the games that we love. We're just building a core team of devout members, and although I'm not a pitched supported greenlight game, I'm just going to be poking around as a rogue studio, making this on the side, as well as anyone who's interested in supporting us. We're on Twitter, Facebook, we have YouTube presence. I usually make a bunch of videos, but not this time. And if you ever want to try to download our most recent build, our website actually gives you a lot of the basic information about us, as well as the ability to even download our most recent build and play us. But yeah, lots of people over these 4 semesters. But that's pretty much it. Oh, that's right. Oh, that's it. Yeah. Accept the rewards. So I guess you. Yeah.
So, as you guys have seen, those are some awesome games. I was really impressed with the work that they've done over the last term. You saw some of the games that were made over a number of terms, like Couch Game after 3, and it's being launched now. And you had 4?
4 semesters.
4 semesters.
You told me 3 was the limit, and I was surprised.
I know. We let you on that 4th one.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Now it's time to spread your wings.
Yes.
Anyway, so again, really awesome work. Super talented individuals. You guys really come together, rally well, and build some awesome games. So I know we earlier today during the pitch time, like I mentioned before, we had awards that the leads handed out to members of their team. I asked them to save a particular award, which would be the most valuable person on their team, for tonight, so that we could celebrate them this evening here all together. So if the leads would like to come up, and then we'll just have you each come up and we'll have you announce your MVPs and have them come down and receive their awards. So we can do the similar order that we had here before.
Do you want to throw up your splash?
Oh yeah, sorry. If it's still here.
Stand here.
Still not sure if I should sue you for that one.
If you should what?
Sue you for that splash screen.
Why?
I swear that's a Happy Skies background.
Kenny made it.
Sue Kenny.
So, my MVP is Jesse.
Yes!
Oh!
Jesse, you're up.
My MVP is me.
Yeah, so Jesse, Couch Game, who's your MVP?
Cool. So, yeah. No, alright. Seriously though, it's been a pretty crazy journey. This person right here, they came in, I didn't know what to expect, and they literally blew my mind away. And all of them actually blew my mind away this semester. It's been really good. But this guy, he stayed up with me pretty much all night and hammered down like last week, I think it was. And so Trent, this is for you. Come get your awesome award. I printed my favorite. We got a print. Anybody got a knife? Yeah. No? Alright. Dang it. I'll break it.
How long have you been waiting to do that?
That was like a year.
Wow.
Fitting Ladies is going to love you.
Oh yeah.
Well, I guess I'm next for Calclord. Trying to avoid this mess. Okay, so this semester for Calclord, I've been in the UAT production class in one project or another for a long time, way too long. So I've had the unique pleasure of working with a lot of different groups. And usually in each group there's a person who starts working on things that aren't usually their job. You'll have designers who start working on programming, artists who start working on design, programmers who work on art, even though it's not always a good idea. And usually those people kind of deserve a little bit of recognition for the fact that they're spreading out and trying to help other team members, trying to take up the load that they're having to deal with, so that way it's not as crushing. And for that end, I'd like to thank Kyrie, who stepped in and actually programmed the minigame that you all saw that Calclord has.
Thanks, I wasn't really expecting to win anything, so it's really cool. And I enjoy working on the games, and it taught me a lot about Unity and Game Maker, so I look forward to keep working on this stuff.
Awesome.
Can I get off the stage?
We got Isaac.
Alright, so Valentine's not here, but he's the gentleman that was getting the MVP. I spoke with the gentleman up top there, Dom and Sean, and we agreed. He did a lot of work. He really kicked it up a notch, helped us out. Spoke with Ed, our client, and just did an amazing job. So he's not here today, but we'll give him a round of applause.
Alright. So, my MVP award goes to Parker Smith, not just by default because he's the only one left with me on the project, but when we lost Tristan, I was so worried that we weren't going to get anything done because he was really the experienced, coder for us. But Parker put in the work to get all the research done, asked questions on forums, and did everything that he needed to do to get the characters built out and fix all the bugs that we were having with it. And without him, we would not have moved forward this semester. And so, there's no other person on the team more deserving.
This next individual is my MVP, because not only did you crank out assets like no other, you rose to the occasion when I didn't think anyone could soar that high. So, Vaughn, can you come down here? You did man, I can't even put in words how great you did and everything else. I guess you could see words aren't coming out.
Harlan.
Okay. So, earlier this morning I did not mention this by accident, but one of the folks that actually helped me make a lot of progress this semester was also my only programmer. So Roger has been a significant help on this team. I mean, you're welcome to come up here for life, but we've spent a lot of time just not sleeping, hashing out as much as we can every moment that we could possibly push into the game, allowing us to make this much progress in such a short amount of time. And yeah, he's been a very big asset, and I hope to keep working with him for many years.
I want to thank Game Studios as well for giving him another chance, because I would have never met him.
Yeah, I'm really grateful for that.
Cool. Well, thank you guys. a round of applause for all the MVPs and everybody again who's been working on all these games. Yeah, you want, oh, okay. Sorry, all MVPs have to come back out onto the floor.
And the leads, photo op, let's do it.
Derek wants it. It's Derek's fault. It's social media.
Roger,
Jesse, you don't gotta
play the silly string, so we don't have to.
No, I'm taking a picture.
Oh, okay, again. Yeah, you missed out on the
What?
Yeah, we had a team picture.
I'll do pictures.
Just to make him walk down there and back.
Alright, how about leads up on the stage? Your MVP right below you there?
You guys never pose for a picture. I have pictures.
So, find
Find our person. Scoot down. Scoot down.
Or MVP find your lead?
and then just creepily
Yeah,
have your
that's
hand on
all
their
right.
head and pet them.
I mean, this is Max.
Lighting them up.
Brown nosers. Put the certificate. You guys smiling?
Why do you smile?
I like to have fun.
They're right into the light.
Why did my block?
We're done?
So,
Go get a mop.
don't worry. Tyler will take care of it later.
I got the majority.
But on that note, I mean, that's pretty much it. I think that's quite a lot. So you've all had a lot to see and check out and digest. All of the games, or most of them in their current iterations, are going to be out on the tables outside right now. So go ahead and mingle and talk to the game developers or try their games out. Thank you for coming out and joining us tonight and celebrating the UAT Game Studios games and teams. So thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Jesse's on cleanup duty.